For me, I kind of had that moment of why us, when you stood there going, why has someone looked down on us and said, no one could be that happy, no one could be that much in love and find their soulmate, find their best friend, and have such a great plan. And we had it all planned, like finances in place, you know what you're doing, you know what you need to do, you've got to get through that bit to get there, and we had it all planned, and that's what we're doing. And then this is like rug underneath your feet and said, no, you can't have that. I'm Ali Spencer. This is my story, the story of mine and my husband Spence. We got married on the 18/8/18, so it's nice and easy to remember. It's a good date for both of us, so that you won't ever forget your wedding anniversary. He's an administrator. He has been in 27 years, so he's definitely done more of the legwork than I have. I was in for 11. But always been very active and sporty. That's kind of obviously how we got together, and our main love is being outdoors and doing outdoorsy sort of things. We've had some amazing travels through the Air Force. We have just come back from Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, that's where we were medevaced from. But some amazing times in Zimbabwe, seeing, gosh, on safari, seeing some amazing things together. We're probably most happy being on the south coast. That's our dream. That's our what we want to get to at the end of all of this, is have a house in Cornwall or Devon with a dog, probably a cat, on the south coast, and enjoying the simple things, really. The thing I love about Spence most is, and myself, is that we appreciate the small things, and it's the small things that have become probably even more important now with everything that's gone on. Pretty much all started about 18 months ago. He had a simple knee operation, well, so say simple. He got DVT following that, so a blood clot, so we got stuck in the UK, and then eventually we went back to Zimbabwe. He got another clot, and then he was moving a bench on our decking area, sharp pain in his back. Then it sort of disappeared over a few days. We went walking, and his back was very stiff, but just stiff, nothing more than that. Very unusual. And then another trip, and another walking trip at low level, and he fell a couple of times on his back. But silly things like you would fall, like one of us would fall on wet leaves and land on your bum, and you might bruise your coccyx, or might go, oh gosh, that's a bit stiff for a few days. It was nothing more extreme than that. And then following that, it got just progressively worse, his back. He was at home, not being able to do sort of simple tasks of getting out of bed. He had to be hospitalised in Zimbabwe for a few weeks, which was, pretty unbelievably tough, to be honest. Especially as I was the one that basically said that you need to go into hospital now for treatment. But it was the best thing for him. We had amazing care in Zimbabwe. I think a lot of people have this mindset of, oh, it must be mud huts and whatever, but I can't praise the hospital and the care in Zimbabwe high enough, to be honest. MRIs and CT scans were taken, and blood, and unfortunately it got closer and closer towards, yes, it's cancer. We were then medevaced back from Zimbabwe, which was a pretty harrowing experience. My first and probably only time on a private jet. Not the way that you want to experience a private jet, to be fair. But so we were medevaced back to the QEH in Birmingham for care and for final diagnosis. He needed a bone biopsy to confirm that it was blood cancer, multiple myeloma. And then basically started chemo straight away. So he's into 16 weeks of chemo, and then a stem cell transplant at the end of that. And then hopefully it's an incurable cancer, but it's treatable. So it is, we'll get through all of this, and then onwards and upwards, and just have to look forward to many, many more years of him annoying the hell out of me and me annoying the hell out of him. Every night I go to sleep, and I hope that I'll go to sleep and it's all just a horrendous nightmare, and we'll wake up from it and it will just be a horrendous nightmare, and it will still be in Zimbabwe having a lovely time and looking forward to the trips that we had planned and the adventures we have planned. And I think it's that sort of that realization that your life hasn't ended, but it's just maybe changed, but trying to remember that it has only changed and your dreams are still your dreams. With all of this, he fractured his spine in 7 places, ended up being 9 fractures in total, and the multiple myeloma is in his ribs as well. He's had to deal with complete immobility and the pain coming from a broken back, as well as then the cancer. And it's the cancer that has caused the broken back. So they're all interlinked and they've caused the blood clot. So it all ties in now. Probably the worst and most harrowing moment of my life, helping him get out of bed and him screaming in my ear in agony. It's just something you never want to hear. You never want to hear that coming from a loved one. And especially someone, when I look at him, and it's my 46-year-old husband who's fit, active, strong, and I'm having to lift him out of bed. And I think now what he's struggling with, and I'm struggling with, is we have a very visual reminder. His spine has compressed, so he's lost height. He's now shorter than I am. He wasn't shorter than I was before this. And I think that is something we're going to have to really come to terms with and sort of just accept. But at the moment, it's just a real, very physical, very in-your-face reminder of what's happened to us. I will we'll be planning to raise some money for Fisher House, and also just making sure that all my friends that are serving and ex-serving know about it, because it is an incredible facility. And I'm very, very thankful that it's here, because it was a real godsend to come in, because we came in very early in the morning. It was sort of early hours, 3:30 in the morning. So to come in here and feel, you come in here and it feels like a home. It doesn't feel like a hotel or it doesn't feel like your typical military accommodation in any way, shape or form, which is a godsend, to be honest, because now being ex-military, I don't want to live in a mess or go and stay in a mess, or I've got no interest in that whatsoever. So it was a very lovely, very sort of perfect place to come into, really. And the rooms are amazing, and it's got everything that you need. I mean, it is, when people write, when you've written on the website Home from Home, you kind of, it's funny because you take everything with a pinch of salt when you read it, because you can only read what you read and you don't really see it and experience it. But then when you walk through the front door and you go, wow, and then you walk around it and you think, my goodness, there's an amazing kitchen downstairs with all the facilities that you could need. There's washing machines. It's having things like, there's washing powder available. It's just brilliant, and it's just tiny little things that just make such a massive difference. But when you're in the traumatic state that you're in and you come back in a complete, you can't think for yourself, let alone be thinking about the small things that you might need. I mean, for me, coming back, I was told originally, because we were coming back on a private Medevac, they said, oh, you need hand luggage only, and you might not even be able to get on that flight. So to be told that 24 hours before you're leaving a country where all your stuff is, and then they relinquished and said, okay, you can have 2 20-kilo kit bags. I was like, what do I put in 2 bags that we need, thinking he's going to be doing chemo? What do I need for chemo? What should I be packing in my bag? I'm pretty surprised I came back with what I came back with, if I'm brutally honest. So to walk through the doors here and have a room with, because I was stupid, I was fretting about not having put a towel in my bag, because if it had been anywhere else, you wouldn't have a towel, and there wouldn't be a towel. But you walk in the room and there's towels in the bathroom, and there's soap, and there's, do you need any shampoo? Do you need like body wash? Do you need soap? Do you need, it's amazing how those little things, and I can't sort of, until you're in the situation you're in, it's just a relief, because you walk in and you go, thank goodness for that. There's a bed, there's a towel, I can have a shower, I can wash my hair, I can get into bed, I can go down to the kitchen, there's things in the cupboard, there's milk in the fridge to make a cup of tea, there is powder to do some washing, and it's amazing. And I think people don't realise that, but actually it's those little things at this point that make your life so much easier. Nice to be here and have people here that you can break down in front of when they go. They don't try and give you the warm fuzzy story of it's all going to be okay, because they don't know it's going to be okay, and you don't know it's going to be okay. But it's nice to have someone just give you a hug and go, I know, I understand, because I'm going through exactly the same trauma that you're going through, in the aspect of it's a loved one. It doesn't matter what they're in there for. It's still someone that you love, that you feel, and when you're in here, you feel helpless. You feel sort of lost. You feel like you can't do anything, and to have people in here in the same sort of the same state is really helpful, because it kind of just gives you that emotional support that really helps. So I'd say to anybody coming in here, don't close yourself away. Talk to people. I cannot thank Fisher House enough for what they've done for me, and the help for me, for my family, and the reassurance for Spence, knowing that I'm being looked after as well, I know has helped him, and helped him sleep better at night and feel that he knows that I'm somewhere safe and looked after. In your hour of need, I couldn't have done this without here, or it would have been a hell of a lot more difficult than it has been. So I think for me, I'm just very, very thankful.